At one time, the oceans and the fish that swam in them seemed so vast that they could hardly be affected by human activities. But Canadian and world fish stocks have now been fished to the limit of sustainability and into decline. Our fisheries are in crisis, and the causes of this crisis are well understood. But without significant change in the future, the final outcome is easily predicted. In its 1995 report on the state of the world's fisheries, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations stated that at the beginning of the 1990s, 69% of the world's conventional fish species were fully exploited, overexploited, depleted, or rebuilding from a depleted state. It was concluded that the operation of the world's fisheries as they existed could not be sustained, and that significant ecological and economic damage had already occurred. While all major fisheries of the world are affected, one of the hardest hit regions has been Canada's Atlantic fishery, where catches have fallen by over 40% from their peak in the year 1973. Some of the world's most productive fisheries were once located here, but they are now essentially closed due to the depletion of many of the most important groundfish stocks. Of these, the most dramatic collapse was that of the northern cod, historically the most important stock of the Northwest Atlantic, which, in only 4 years, was fished to near depletion. Lower catches of more desirable species have been offset by switches to less valuable species, but this action may be self-defeating, for it is less profitable and may impair the recovery of the more valuable stocks by depleting their food supply. Currently, there are few species of marine fish left that can still be exploited economically. As our technology advances, pressures on the international fish stocks are ever increasing, ranging from the industrialization and expansion of world fishing fleets to the effects of aquaculture and environmental degradation. The industrialization of fisheries is characterized by an expansion of fishing fleets, as augmented by modern technology, allowing for massive catches worldwide. In order to satisfy market demands and maximize profits, commercial fishing fleets target the most highly valued species and sizes of fish. The so-called bycatch of lower valued species is simply dumped, dead, creating mass amounts of waste. Fisheries often see aquaculture as a solution to overfishing, as it has the potential to take pressure off wild stocks and provide economic development opportunities and employment. Fish farming requires suitable areas for development and can therefore destroy habitat important to wild stocks. In addition, crossbreeding between wild stocks and escaped domestic strains of fish could weaken the genetic makeup of wild populations. The risk of disease can be increased in farmed fish cultivated in confined areas, and there is a possibility of subsequent transmission to wild stocks. This is particularly prevalent in Canada's Pacific fisheries, where wild salmon stocks are already threatened. In Atlantic Canada, a renewable resource has been exploited beyond its capacity, and the same thing may be happening in Pacific Canada as different interests compete for a limited supply of fish. Continued overfishing and environmental destruction endanger fish stocks worldwide, weaken the long-term economic viability of the fishing industry, undermine the stability of coastal communities, and ultimately threaten the contribution of fishing to the global food supply. But how can we stop this from occurring? The answer is simple: stop overfishing and protect fish habitat. But as Canada's own experience has demonstrated, this can be remarkably difficult to put into practice. Total fishing effort should be limited to sustainable levels for healthy stocks and reduced for depleted stocks to give them the chance to rebuild to sustainable levels. Limiting efforts to the optimum level, however, is far more difficult than it might appear at first glance. This is because of uncertainties in the size of stocks and incomplete knowledge of fish population dynamics. It may not be clear what the limit should be. Fortunately, there appears to be a growing international consensus supporting conservation of fisheries resources. Canadian and world fisheries have reached the limits of sustainability. At the same time, the world's population continues to grow. Changes must be made to rescue the fishing industry, not only because it provides employment in regions where jobs are scarce, but because it supports a lifestyle known worldwide, a lifestyle which is also part of Canadian heritage